I am no longer muted.
Sorry, Steve. I didn't mean you. I meant the town of LaPointe. I think is muted.
Good afternoon, everybody. Town of LaPointe Regular Planning and Zoning Town Plan Commission, 4:30, July 1st, 2026. Call to order, roll call.
Charles Brummer.
Amy Baxter.
Jim Peters.
Paul Wilharm. Public comment, less than 1 minute. Any public comment? Any public comment online? Can you hear us online?
Yeah,
Yep.
so we'll have to wait till the end of the meeting.
Me as well.
Thank you. Okay.
Thanks.
Zoning Administrator report.
All right, I'll keep this quick, but everyone should have a copy that was in your mailbox as well as emails. A lot of things going on during the month. Zoning ordinance was a big one. So because we met on June 2nd and June 24th to go through the comments that we received during the public hearing on May 20th, we have a 99.9% final draft that was distributed to everyone earlier this week. So thanks for all the great work on that. The goal tonight is to get a recommendation to start legal review. Permits during the month, we actually had 10 that we received, which is a couple higher than the June of the last couple of years. We received one June 29th and it's in the pile tonight to review. I was able to complete the site visit and data package. Grants continuing to work on. I know that's not part of this group and this is on here for town board, but we continue to explore various grant applications for the town. On page 2, you've got a list of all the different permits that we're discussing tonight. Regarding short-term rental, the applications were due June 14th. It was technically the 15th because the 14th fell on a Sunday. Through the end of June, there's been 37 commercial, 2 long-term, and 97 daily permits. And remember, that is capped at 125 annually. So we're right now sitting at 28 below that. There are some that we've not received yet, probably in the neighborhood of 10 to 15. The short-term rental administrator is going to be sending out an email tomorrow to all those that haven't submitted, because if they don't reapply by July 14th, then the fees go to a regular application. So there's an increase in fees if while they couldn't reapply for a lesser fee by July 14th. I was able to participate in a number of meetings, the Great Lakes Islands Alliance on June 3rd, that talked about e-bike standards. I was able to attend the Ashland County Unit coordination meeting June 17th with a lot of the Ashland County representatives. It's great to meet and work with people in person that we're working with on the phone. So it was another opportunity to get to know people that we work with. On June 26th, I attended the Northwest District meetup with people that included the Director of Planning and Development for the City of Ashland, the Planning and Zoning Director for Bayfield County, as well as a political science professor and a couple of representatives from the University of Wisconsin Extension. Last week, and we'll talk about it more, I had a meeting on site with Wisconsin DNR wetlands and drainage issues that we wanted to review. That went well. So it's great that we're working with our counterparts with the DNR to work through these potential wetland issues. And then we're just, again, looking for grant opportunities and applying as able. So thanks for everyone's.
Anybody have any questions?
Is there a data center planned for Ashland County?
No.
No.
Oh, just talking.
That was one of the topics that came up that, we're just staying engaged with Ashland County so we know the latest and greatest.
Oh.
Since there's no questions, thank you, Rich. Approval of the previous minutes. Special TPC meeting, June 24th.
Page 2, second paragraph, where it starts in section 5.5. Couple sentences in, it says C. Brummer believed that we would just going to have some. I think should be that we were just going to have some sort of
Okay.
limited time.
Thank you. Good catch.
And at the bottom, near the last sentence, right before Arcula stated that it is a balance of not adding too many signs. It started off by Jim Peters stated that the comprehensive plan also included that we wanted to promote businesses on the island so that people that live here can continue to live here, make a living. I'd like something inserted after that because I responded by stating, you can say, C. Brummer stated the comprehensive plan also makes a point to maintain and preserve the natural environment and does not advocate for more signage.
Could I have a copy of that?
Yeah, give you that.
Thanks.
Other than that, I think I'm fine with it.
I think I read that sentence that you corrected like 4 times. I'm like, wait.
I'd like to get my
What was-
point across.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the Town of Point Special Planning and Zoning Town Plan Commission meeting of June 24th, 2026, with the corrections as noted.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Review, discuss, and possibly approve land use permit applications, including but not limited to. The first one is 392 Boho Lane. Accessory building.
Yeah, everyone should have a copy of that in their package. Reviewed the application, did a site visit. I have no concerns with the proposal.
No plumbing.
No plumbing.
In a meeting.
Make a motion to approve the Nile and Sarah Norton land use application as submitted.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next one, 348 Boho Lane shed / sauna.
Yeah, so this is one that we became aware of after construction had started. I worked with the property owner and did a site visit, and we talked about the structure. Ultimately, we felt that it was smaller than 100 square feet and didn't need a permit. It is, however, in the shoreline setback distance, so it would have at least required an Ashland County permit. They don't have a minimum size. And then there was discussion on part of the building, whether it was a deck or not. So we started looking into it more closely and determined that it was started construction before it was permitted. And then it actually, and you'll see on page 2, sits 5 feet and 8 inches off the side part of the lot. So in that zone, it's a 30-foot setback on the side. So this does not meet our standard. So on page 3 is from a survey. It's not to scale because the structure is something that I added based on my site visit and information that the property owner gave me as far as that it was 5 feet 8 inches. So on top of page 3, what's denoted in red, that red box is this structure. So, you know, understanding that and where it's located, there are no wetlands associated with it. But based on that and my understanding of the side setback, that this should be denied.
I'll make a motion that we deny the land use application for Kevin and Elizabeth Dooley. 848 Bowles.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3790 North Shore Road, a shed.
Um, this, like Paul said, is out at 3790 North Shore Road. It's a 10 by 16 shed with no sanitary. That is literally in the middle of the lot on an existing driveway that was put in a while ago. It's to the north property line. It's at 85 feet, exceeds the 50-foot requirement. You know, it greatly exceeds all of the setback requirements, including the from the lake shore. On page 3 is just a photo of it staked off where it's going to be. I have no issues, no concerns.
I'll make a motion to approve the land use application for Bart Carwath at 3790 North Shore Road as submitted.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next one, 1050 Middle Road stumping.
Yeah, and this one's just a land disturbing activity. Trees were cut a while ago. And it's going through and stumping those on page 2. It's starting in the area that looks yellow. And if time permits, he would be moving to the north into the area that is pink. Performed the site visit earlier this week, June 29. Pictures on page 4 and 5. I have no concerns.
Just for clarification, is this something you could have issued, or did you feel more
Yes.
comfortable coming in front of us for one reason, or?
Yes, so this is something that I could have approved on my own. This took a little bit more research just because on page 3 at the top, there's an unnamed intermittent stream that runs through that property. So as part of the permitting process, they have to identify if they're within 300 feet.
Okay.
And he's proposing to go up to 75 feet. So it took me a little bit of time to go through and identify that it is a stream order 1. And it's an intermittent, and you can stump within 75 feet of the stream.
Okay.
So it was just to bring that additional detail.
Thanks for the clarification.
Yeah.
Rich. I move that we approve the land use application for Joel Weiler at 1050 Middle Road as submitted.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next one, 516 Miller Farm Road, accessory building, a shed, Ed Schaefer.
Right, and so we did receive this on Monday this week. It was important for us to review them as quickly as we can, especially when we've got the TPC meeting. So I was able to review the application. I was able to go out to the site, which it had been staked off. And review it. There are wetlands, but the wetlands are further back on the property. So no issues and no concerns with a 16 by 20 foot storage shed.
I'll make a motion to approve the land use application for Ed Schaefer as presented.
Any discussion?
Oh, I
Favor.
have one question on page 2 at the top of both. It says from the front of the lot, it is in excess of 200 feet, requirement of 93 feet.
Yes.
How does
Yeah.
93 feet come
Yep.
into play?
Yep, great question. So in that zone, it's a 60-foot requirement for setback from the property line, but you add that in addition to the right of way.
Oh,
So the right of way is 33 feet there. So off the front, it's technically 93.
okay.
Great question. Thanks.
Any other questions? All in favor? Aye. Next one, 37 what is this? 56 Big Bay Road, tiny home. Land disturbance, fill and grade, sauna, boat shed, and a gravel pad.
Yeah, so I want to apologize to TPC for this is one that you just received in your inbox today. But I also want to thank Michelle and Klaus for the coordination, the property owners. They've been great to coordinate with me. There's a lot to unpack on this one. So jump to the chase. You know, I am recommending a partial approval based on the information, and a partial denial. So partial approval for the RV tiny homes and boathouse, and denial for the sauna. And I'll quickly walk us through. They did receive a sanitary permit on May 11th. And there are wetlands that are on that property that involve a site visit with the DNR, which we conducted last Friday. I attended that. We were out there for quite a while, performing some soil samples, taking a look at drainage, looking at where the proposed site was, because it's important that DNR was part of that and approved part of that. They are already working with the town building inspector, so they're ahead of the game on that. We're going to start this property crosses Big Bay Road. So we'll start on page 2. That's not the exact unit, but a picture of the type of unit that they would be installing north of Big Bay Road. So we're going to start north of Big Bay Road, which is proposed for the RV tiny house, a well, and a holding tank. So they've already identified a contractor for the well and for the holding tank. But there were wetlands, and let's go down to bottom of page 7. There's really no way to organize all of this together. But as you can see, we're kind of on the east half of the property, and I've noted that it's about 110 feet from the neighboring property. So there's also drainage that occurs on that lot that runs from east to west on the south part of that lot. So the RV tiny home will be located 93 feet north of the center line of Big Bay Road. So this is also the 60-foot setback plus the 33 feet of right of way. The side setbacks exceed the 50-foot requirements, and the rear setback, it greatly exceeds 425 feet or so. And the well and the holding tank also meet the requirements per DNR. The property owner is very willing to move that to where it needs to be on the lot to avoid the wetlands. They've been great about that. So they reached out to the DNR. I provided them a contact. They were working with the DNR. I was also working with the DNR to help them through that process. So the ultimate site that's out there right now is on an already disturbed area. And like I mentioned, the DNR and I met out there on June 26th, and it went well. There were 7, and I listed them in here on the bottom of page 3, kind of 7 takeaways. And I was able to meet the property owner. Let's see, today's Wednesday, on Monday, and go through, and they were all in agreement. First one, again, just that the setback is 93. When you use the wheel, you come up, it's hard to tell on an exact number. So we talked about that. There's fill that's between the tiny home and County Road H that is blocking some drainage. And the DNR recommended when they're doing the site work to clear a little bit of that out to allow the drainage to go from east to west. the holding tank. They were okay with the proposed location, but to remove the excavated materials from the property. They are gonna put a sand lift for the tiny home, and the slope would not exceed 6 feet from the edges of the unit. So didn't want to put a sand lift in there that was blocking drainage, so kept the sand lift in a confined area. Culverts, to watch the drainage from both culverts on both sides of the road to ensure they're not sand filled or obstructed. That's on the north side. So there's two more that are on here, and we'll get to those when we get to the south side. Any questions on the north side?
Then on the front of the application it says wetland DNR permit, so they didn't need a wetland DNR permit, they just had a.
They did
review.
not.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. Site is June 26th.
Okay.
So, based on that, it meets the setback standards on, the north side of Big Bay Road. And so those we're recommending for approval. We can kind of hold off till the end if that's what you want to do. And now we could move on to the south side.
Mhm.
Okay. Top of page 4, is south of Big Bay Road and the proposal. And on the left-hand side, there was a proposed sauna on a roughly 10 by 18 foot area. And then to the right of that would be a boathouse, a 30 by 10 foot boathouse. And because these are projects that involve the shoreland zoning ordinance, I coordinated with Ashland County quite a bit on this. And while we were out there doing with the DNR, looking at the north side, we also walked over to the south side and looked at it. And the sauna, unfortunately requires a 75-foot setback from the ordinary highway. We're in agreement with Ashland County on that. And the envelope of land that exists on that side just doesn't support that. So that's the portion that we recommend denial of the sauna. Now, I did follow up with property owner on Monday, after the DNR visit, and we talked, and the property owner would like that converted to a parking spot, rather than a sauna. In coordination with Ashland County, they're on board with that, except the closest part to the ordinary high water mark needs to be 35 feet. So, and I'm not certain that there's 35 feet there. And I learned that over the past 24 hours. So the sauna for right now would be denied. And we can look at it further to see if there's 35 feet from the ordinary high water mark for the parking spot. And let's move further to the east, and that's the proposed boathouse. And again, this is one that involved heavy Ashland County coordination, with their zoning administrator to walk through this. They proposed a boathouse that's at least 10 feet from the ordinary high water mark. And the shoreland protection ordinance lists, I think it's 8, if I counted right earlier, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, allows new boathouses with strict criteria. And those criteria are actually on the top of page 5, that talk about it being at least 6 feet from the ordinary high water mark. This does that. A dimension not to exceed 300 square feet, nor may the wall exceed 10 feet. It has, rise and run requirements on the roof. It has to be located in the allowable view and access corridor of the parcel. It cannot contain plumbing or plumbing fixtures, can't be used for human habitation. Conformity with the local floodplain zoning standards. And just for the storage of boats and related equipment. And the last one, and I probably should have moved it up, but that's the page number of the zoning ordinance, it's the 10 that you see there. But that the color scheme must be muted and blend with natural landscapes and surrounding environment. So what you see on the bottom of page 5 is it staked out where the property owner would like it. And that does meet all of the above criteria. And like I said, in coordination with the DNR looked at that site. Their recommendation of that is that they not dig into that sand dune, that it be elevated at that point. But as long as these 8 criteria are met, which it appears they do, then we would recommend approval for that for the boathouse.
So how are they gonna get a boat into the boathouse?
Right.
So
It's like, you know, depending on the ordinary high water mark, you might be 20 feet from the.
yeah, and great question. I mean, you have to be at least 6. So this gets them back further. My understanding is the property owner is just going to be putting kayaks and canoes and not a full, operational, boat like that.
Do you know how many permits like these Ashland County grants in a year? Did you?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't. But this is one that not only did I talk with them and send an initial email on, I sent a very detailed email to them laying all of this out, including the photographs that I took when I did the site visit, just to make sure that we were all on the same page.
These boathouses are something that goes back to 2017 Act 67, is that?
Yeah, we didn't go into the details.
Okay.
Of the origin. We used the shoreline protection ordinance.
But, okay, so they're not supposed to dig into the sand lift,
They're not,
the dune, but can they sonotube to
Yes.
hold it up?
yes. So, I mean, yes, so the way it is out there is ordinary high water mark is a very difficult concept to define. If you take 3 people out there, you're gonna have 4 different definitions of ordinary high water mark. There was kind of a rock debris field, which could be, then there was a step up, which could also be said, well, that's the ordinary high water mark. And then there were ferns that were growing up on top of this berm that the DNR was like, that could also be defined as it. This sits behind all of that. And the recommendation is to not carve into this dramatically, because then you're opening up where you could get water that would start flowing in.
But they can dig down to secure
Yes.
it so it won't float away. Like
Yes.
it doesn't have to just sit on something.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah, and I did talk with the property owner Monday afternoon, and they were on board with that.
Well, is it the DNR or Ashland County that establishes the ordinary high water mark? It's not you.
It is not me. And so that was part of the site visit with the DNR representative is we looked at that and defined that any one of these 3 could be determined as the high water mark. This is 10 feet at least beyond the furthest from where the water is actually at. So it's the most conservative approach.
Yeah, because I think if we approve this, we'll have to look at, the language in our ordinance under 4.4 shoreline regulations, a setback. Because as I mentioned to Rich yesterday, number 1 says all permanent structures shall be set back 75 feet from the ordinary high water mark. This is a permanent structure. It also goes on to say, boathouses shall conform to the Ashland County Shoreline Amendatory Ordinance. So it's kind of saying 2 things. I think we should look at that just to clear up any confusion with the
Sure.
2 sentences.
Absolutely.
I mean, if Ashland County and the DNR are comfortable with it, I just don't want to see this become an excuse to, have buildings right on the water going forward.
Right.
It seems like they have a lot of criteria they have to follow, no human habitation. You know, I just don't want to see this turning into a gazebo. So again, it comes down to enforcement and things like that.
Right, and well, first of all, you notice that the package was 8 pages, which is pretty lengthy.
Yeah, I know.
A lot of
You
time.
did, yeah, you did a lot of work on it.
Well, it was a lot of coordination with DNR. We were on the site and looked at the stakes. So felt comfortable after that. The DNR was comfortable. And then triple checking with Ashland County because this is in a sensitive area. This is something that is within that 75 feet. I didn't want to come with a recommended approval without checking all of the boxes, like with the Sharpie marker, right? I mean, checking things 2 or 3 times.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how many boathouses end up with windows and or screens.
Well, and it, you know, also got to be careful of the removal of shoreline cover because you can't remove more than 30 feet within 100 feet. This is 30 feet wide. I mean, it must be getting pretty close to removing all of the shoreline cover that was there. That was pretty heavily forested with evergreens back in the day, not that long ago.
Right.
So,
The-
but I'm sure the DNR and Ashland County, they have eyeballs too. So if something seemed out of order, they would have picked up on it, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and I sent them the photos as well. The
You just can't clear cut like 200 feet of lake frontage, you know.
correct. And the property owner did ask me about, you know, how much can be cleared. And I did share with them, you know, the actual written policy on that. And I believe they're willing to conform with that.
Do you think they're at their limit of clearing based on what was cleared to put the driveway in?
Well, behind where the sauna was going to be, there's really been nothing cleared. So there was the driveway that was cleared, and this isn't going to be completely cleared. This is clearing out a spot that's a little bit bigger than 10 by 30. So there is still some growth. You know, there is still some growth behind it and in front of it. So now this tree does get taken down for construction, but you know, there is other growth here that's not being disturbed.
Yeah, I think it's important out there because it's all sand and kind of locks everything together, but,
Yeah, and
I mean,
I don't.
they're aware of it. It sounds like you're aware of it. I'm sure the DNR of all people, they're aware of it, so.
Right, I think their property, I don't have that in front of me. I think it was 291 feet along the lake shore.
Okay.
So, but they do have the requirements and understand it.
Charlie, that section that you just talked about, do you think we ought to change something?
4.4 is the shoreline regulations A setback. But how often have we dealt with boathouses? I've never dealt with a boathouse. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, well, I understand what you're saying, because we say nothing within the 75-foot setback, yet this is closer than that. So you think we need a reference in that section about boathouses?
I think so. I mean, if
What
Ashland
did the
County,
second sentence say?
well, the second sentence of that said, boathouses shall conform to the Ashland County Shoreline Amendatory Ordinance. So what is there a number for that? Do you have,
Well, we can, I mean, I put in the excerpt from Shoreline Protection, Ashland County, Wisconsin Shoreline Protection Ordinance, November
they
2016.
don't have a number for it or anything, just November 20?
I'll have to take a look and see if there's more than that. I just pulled the title and the date.
I mean, if they're allowing it, I mean, they're within 1,000 feet of the lake. I don't see how we can say no to it, but it's something to keep an eye on. Like Paul said, not that it's being abused and windows and screens and, you know, human habitation starts to occur.
It's
Tomato,
it's
tomato.
my understanding we can be stricter than Ashland County,
Yes.
but should we?
Again, we haven't experienced this a lot in my time on this commission and board, so I don't know, like you guys, we weren't always on board at the same time if you ever experienced it, but
I have not.
no, neither have I, so.
So Rich, on the front of this, land use application, we're looking at, it says Michelle Canry.
Yeah, Mr.
Name,
Yes,
and on the back page, it shows that property, it was, Myers.
yes.
It was sold last year, I believe.
Okay,
With any of these maps, unfortunately, the owner information is only up to annually by some counties. Yeah, I want to thank, both Michelle and Klaus. I mean, they've been great to work with and giving me information and talking through things. They've been a pleasure to work with. They want to do the right thing.
I always think of boathouses as the old type of boathouses where the
Yeah.
whole boathouse is on the water, so a boat can go in. Like
Right,
Stuart Campbell, Woods's, Jim Burmeister had one at the Nash Cottage, and, it's all barred up, but I think Tom and Heidi Law have one next door down there on Mission Hill, so you don't see too many of them anymore, and. But it doesn't sound like Ashland County would ever allow that anymore anyways, where a boathouse is, in the water.
It has to be at least 6 feet from the ordinary.
Yeah, okay, just stuff
Yeah,
by.
the boathouses you depict can be, repaired and rebuilt if destroyed.
Oh, sure.
Grandfather.
grandfather.
Yeah, that, yeah, no question about that. But I think that language has been in the ordinance about boathouses shall conform to Ashland County Shoreline and Minatory Ordinance, so. I think there's always been a reference, but it's one of those things in the ordinance where you just kind of read past it because you never have a request for one. So I don't know if we see how this works out, it starts becoming an issue. I mean, if they follow all the rules, maybe it's not an issue. There are a lot of regulations, so I don't know. Something new. Not that this becomes a sauna,
Right,
because they didn't, we're denying the sauna on the same side, this morphs into a sauna in 10 years from now. But you'll be driving by and seeing people coming out in bath towels and robes and then you'll see something.
oh no, we were just on the paddleboard. Oh,
Coming in out of the lake,
yeah.
November.
Yep.
What do you think?
I just don't want everybody to start building sheds and say, oh, well, I put my paddleboard in it, so.
And call it a boathouse. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be my concern too.
Yeah, 10 by 30 can, with 10 feet high walls, can store as many kayaks as Adventure Vacations
Right?
has.
Yeah.
are you suggesting that we be more restrictive? Ashland County?
You asking me?
Well, we're not currently, so I don't think, I mean, if we want to do that in the future, that's fine. I think we should okay this one and then talk about being more restrictive after.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
we're following the book how it is. It should be allowed. Right?
Yeah, we could discuss it in zoning rewrite.
I'll make a motion that we partially approve the Michelle Annie, I have no idea. 3756 Big Bay Road for the tiny home and the boathouse and deny the sauna.
Any discussion? And Rich, you'll look into the, parking.
Yes.
Should we have that in the motion?
We probably should.
Yeah.
Yes. There may be a path forward. So plan B, so we're denying the sauna. But then they said, well, okay, can we do a parking spot there? And in talking with the county said, Yes, as long as it's 35 feet from the ordinary high water mark. And that's the part that I learned within the past 24 hours, and I just don't know.
Okay, I'll amend my motion to also approve ground disturbance for a driveway in the sauna spot.
Second.
Parking spot if it meets setbacks.
Parking spot if it meets setbacks. Any more discussion?
Re-second that.
Second, Joe.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks for all the work on this, Rich.
You're welcome.
So the last two, the applications were either incomplete or not submitted, so those are off. And we're gonna move on to the zoning ordinance rewrite. Anybody have any thoughts with the last thick draft out of the press today?
Start with, since we were just talking about it, boathouses on 4-4.
That's on page 61.
Yes.
Is there anything on the Sixth Street delineation?
Yeah, it's down the list, isn't it?
That's the next thing after this.
That's what you're sticking around.
Ask them to move it up. Very cool. Just wanted to make sure.
We're looking at 4.4.
Yeah, 4.4A on page 61. About the permanent structure shall be set back 75 feet from the ordinary high water mark of navigable waters, and the boathouses shall conform to the Ashland County shoreline and mandatory ordinance. I was thinking if we still wanted to include boathouses, you could just say something after navigable waters is. Have written down here, something like. Set boathouses, blah, blah, blah. It's so many copies.
What page are you in?
61, 62, I think, Rick.
Thanks, sorry.
It's okay. I mean, you could say something from the ordinary high water mark of navigable waters, except boathouses which shall conform to the Ashland County shoreline mandatory ordinance, if we want to leave boathouses in there. We don't feel comfortable leaving boathouses in as new structures up on the beach. Suppose we could remove it. It's going to go through legal anyways. Maybe there's a legal reason why we can't remove it. I don't know. As far as I know, it's always been in there.
I think it's better to have it in there, so it does reference, so people are looking at building a boathouse, that they'll be able to see that there are regulations that they have to follow from the county.
Yeah, and then include the amendatory ordinance number if there is one,
Mhm.
or date. Whatever it shall be. Paul, you were referencing something in 2017 with the,
Oh, that was Act 67. I thought that's when this was incepted, but I could be wrong.
but I think it sounds like our concern is that it stays a boathouse and doesn't become something else like a beach house.
So do we need a definition of boathouses?
Does Ashland County have a definition of a boathouse? They must.
I'd have to grab the language from them. They must.
Might be a good idea.
Okay.
Well, and doors and windows and screens and the like, I mean. If you're moving a boat in and out, it's not gonna be too convenient with a 36-inch walk door, so you might, want an overhead door, but
Well, I think most of them would,
yeah.
on the one end at least.
So Charlie, in that 4.4A1, where it is, all permanent structures shall be set back 75 feet from the ordinary height of water mark in waters, except for boathouses.
Boathouses which shall conform to the Ashland County shoreline amendatory ordinance, and if we can find a date or like a reference number, we can include that. I suppose. And then a definition of a boathouse.
I wonder just how much thought process went into inland lakes because structures 6 feet from the ordinary high water mark on Lake Superior is an interesting, I mean, I've seen waves,
Yeah, it changes all the
Well,
time.
yeah,
yeah,
you could have a year like 2018.
I've seen waves way over the high water mark.
Oh, I could wipe that sucker out there easy,
Yep.
especially out there. I mean, you get northeast pounding there for 3 days.
Well, those storms were years ago were over County H up there.
Well, yeah,
So we'll look up, see if we can find a good definition of boathouse, get that in,
I think so.
two. And then change that wording in, in 4A1.
Yep.
So Rich, you'll try and find that.
I will.
Number.
Anything else, you think we need to tweak before it goes to legal?
Well, so, there was the discussion on the tourist oriented directional signs,
Okay,
that I did share some information today with the team that was kind of highlighted in some of the areas and and Jim pulled together a few sentences for potential inclusion.
But that doesn't apply to us anyways, because if you read that packet, it states right in there, the businesses cannot have direct access to state or US highway, must be located within 5 miles of a state or US highway on which the TODS are to be installed. So to me, that means you have to be within 5 miles of State Highway 13 or US 2, which are state and or US highways. So I don't see where this has anything to do with our roads over here. If you were in Highway 13 outside of Bayfield, yeah, I guess go for it. Petition Bayfield County or Ashland County if you're in Ashland County for this program, but I don't see how it pertains to us.
So it's part of the research on signs because that is, there's a lot of interest on that. I did coordinate with Matt Erickson, who is the highway commissioner for Ashland County. And the TODS, the tourist oriented directional signs, is something that he would be, his exact words were would not be opposed to something like this in relationship, I believe, to County Road H.
Yeah, but we don't have to follow this. According to this, it doesn't apply. And even down below, it says location at the intersection of state or US highways with local or county roadways. We don't have state or US highways over here. So I think this is pertaining more to state because it's put out by the Wisconsin Department of Transportation. They're talking about state highways, US highways. So I don't know how much time you spent on this, but I don't see it pertaining to this. And
Does Ashland County have these directional signs on any of their county roads?
I believe they do. Well, I don't know. And that's something I could look into. I asked him specifically in relationship to town of La Pointe, Madeline Island. And he would not be opposed to something like this, to give business owners an opportunity to put up signage. And it's not the business, it's, putting up the signage. So the package that I gave you earlier today, Paul, if you want, I can go over the highlights. I've got 5 of them. Just kind of a summary of that.
sure.
I mean, so, all costs would be to the property owner, right? The sign, the post and county installation. And the cost, an estimate is around $550 a sign for a 10-year period, or which they equate to about $1 a week. The business owner would have to submit an application to the county. And there are requirements that they would have to meet. They would have to be classified as an attraction, be deemed as a significant interest to the traveling public, be open a minimum of 8 hours per day for 5 days a week for at least 3 consecutive months, and provide restrooms and drinking water. They would also have to derive a major portion of their income or visitors during the normal business season from road users not residing in the area of the facility. And these signs they're blue signs with white text. They're highly standardized signs, with really no room for modification to standards. I was trying to think outside the box, just, I really like those Northwoods traditional white arrow board signs. I remember as a kid, they always reminded me of the Northwoods. Again, I was just trying to think outside the box, and this doesn't allow for those. It has to be the sign with white lettering, 6-inch tall letters. The last point was I did include on the last page of your handout, just the island map. We all know where County Highway H is depicted, and it would apply to those roads. And I think Jim included that in his proposed language. And it also included in there, which I liked, was it limits it to no more than 6 on the island.
6 signs per business or a total of 6?
Total of 6. So I look at it, there's liquor licenses, there's short-term rental license limits that we have. And there are businesses that are out there. It's striking that balance of the comprehensive plan and people that live and want to run a business on the island. It's limiting it to 6. So we're not getting signs that are everywhere. They're associated with County Road H, and I like the language that Jim crafted. I think it's a win-win for the business owners. It also keeps them from, we're not going to have 4,300 signs that appear tomorrow. There's no cost to the town. It's on the property owner. It's all on the business owner. So I think it struck a healthy balance of, the comprehensive plan and promoting these things while also keeping the visual integrity of the island that's in place.
Well, the comprehensive plan doesn't specifically say you have to have extra signs everywhere. I think the comprehensive plan and the way the zoning ordinance is presented nowadays is that you can have a home business, a home occupation, you have a sign, you can have a feather banner at your business as long as it's not out at the edge of the road. If it's advertising your business, I'm fine with that. It's just, at one time, not that long ago, it was thought that, with the rental ordinance, having 6 times the sleeping capacity was going to be a good number for events. And that's worked out wonderful. So I'm sticking to my guns. I think this whole thing about Class E signs doesn't conform with Section 5.1, the objective, and Section 5.2, the purpose of regulating signs. Like, there's plenty of opportunity for people to advertise their business. We don't need all this extra signage around town. I can see this getting changed from 6 to 12 to 24. I'm not changing my mind on this. I know you guys are advocating pretty much for one individual. That's admirable. I wish the person well, but that same person also had a business down in the commercial zones and he left that area. Now, I don't know why people, if they're in a commercial zone, why you want to leave that. To me, that's, also part of this whole narrative and why we're dealing with all of this wording pretty much, as far as I can remember, one person. So I don't like this whole thing about Class E signs, how it's presented. Just my opinion. Also, I thought we were talking at one time, and I think it's in there, about if you want a temporary off-premise special event that promotes an event shall require town board authorization. So if someone wants like an art crawl or something like one a month, some people down here have an art thing one a month. Signs go up on a Friday, they're taken down Sunday morning, say if the event's on a Saturday, fine, who cares? It's just this permanent signage everywhere. I don't think it's what the comprehensive plan had in mind. I sat on that steering committee for almost 2 years and it never came up, wasn't discussed. And didn't hear anybody complaining then about it. So to say the comprehensive plan means that we have to have signs everywhere on this island, I think is contradictory to how we had it set up. And we got a lot of response back that the island should remain as natural in appearance as possible. And just like you were reminiscing about signs when you were a kid, I reminisce driving around here with no signage staring me everywhere I went. So why did we all move here? Just saying, guys.
Any other thoughts?
Well, I still believe that we should promote signage for businesses out here so people can find them, so people can make a living, and restricting it just to County Road H, so signs aren't gonna be everywhere on the island. Limiting the number to 6 would keep that low, and there is a cost involved in this, so I don't know that there's gonna be a lot of businesses that wanna pay that fee to do it. So I mean, that's somewhat restrictive. I mean, it's just somebody's isn't gonna just set up a stand and wanna pay that kind of a fee to have a directional sign. I think it's good for the island for businesses to be able to be found, and this is one way to do it.
Does,
Is that a one-time fee
No, it's yearly,
yearly?
because you put it up and take it down, right? That every year you pay the fees to put it up and take it.
no, it's good for 10 years.
Oh, 10 years.
No, what his wording was.
No, on this,
Didn't you have,
the Class E sign, this is the one that,
oh, I swear there was a,
yeah,
It can be-
you're talking about this.
yes.
That's no longer on the table.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the costs are, there's an administrative fee of $100 a sign, and that gets you a 5-year permit. Estimated manufacturing cost is between 100 and 150 a sign. Installation fee to the county is $250 a sign. So they estimate it's $550 to $600 over a 10-year period.
And the town doesn't have to do anything. It's all handled by the county. If the county wants to sublet it to the town, then they pay the town. I believe that, correct?
Yeah, and we'd have to look into
Yes.
those details.
But again, we can be stricter than the county, like Paul mentioned with the boathouses, so. And we've had this wording in here for as long as I can remember without too many complaints except for one person, and I think we're just tailoring everything to one individual, and just like the events and 6 times the occupancy, you try to do something that's, you think is good, but telling you.
If they no longer if they no longer need it, takes it down.
There's language in here that talks about
But
the owner doesn't want to sign up anymore.
the county
It's
takes
all-
it down.
If your business, for example, were no longer in operation, you contact the county highway department to have the sign removed from the roadway.
Okay.
So, and I, in full transparency, I mean, I've had 3 people ask about signage for their businesses that are outside the central business district. So, that's why I think 6 is a good number, because I think we would probably get applications, not us, the county would get applications from, up to 3 initially, and that would allow room to grow to 6.
So after the 6th, the rest are up luck.
Yeah, and again, I look at, liquor licenses and I look at short-term rental limited to 125, that if we were to hit that number, then that's it. That's 6 active. And it would give those an opportunity that I think would be good.
And we would definitely have to have some sort of language in the rewrite in order to allow this.
Yes. I mean, I think this is a great start on.
So are we looking for a motion,
Well,
so second, a vote or a consensus?
so we're reviewing, this is all part of the zoning ordinance in my mind. I mean, these are the topics that, I would like to walk out of here tonight with, we're gonna look at the boathouses. Okay, I get that. I would like to say 99.9 or 99.8% agreement. Because I would like to take this to the attorney as early as tomorrow, with the understanding that there's a couple paragraphs that are gonna
Tweak.
maybe be modified over the next month to get him started on the review. I don't know how long the review is going to take. So I would like some sort of consensus or not on, what the next step is.
Well, are the hangups only the boathouse in this?
Yes.
I've actually got mixed emotions,
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
and honestly, I mean, I'd like to have more time to reflect on it before it just gets added to the.
And I'm okay with that. I think this issue and the boathouse issue is something that we can work over the next month. I didn't want to reach out to the attorney too soon. Because we're paying review costs. So I wanted to give him something that was after this meeting that's 99.9% complete. That here's the 2 issues we're working, boathouses and signs. So we're talking honestly 2 paragraphs.
No.
Right? I mean, so that he can start on that and review.
Mm-hmm.
And then we make these changes. He's only reviewing if he gets to those section 2 paragraphs.
And that's, and one, sorry to interrupt, but one last thing was did we have anything we had to clear up on those holding tanks, those 500-gallon tanks on RVs and travel trailers? I think we were good on that, right?
Yeah, the question just becomes, timing.
Maybe,
So
yeah.
there was the sanitary district was talking about after the work was completed on that. The reality is, and we can talk about that now because it's part of the zoning, is that this is probably going to be the document that we use for the next, we're using 2019 right now. So for the next 7 years. So I think everyone was on board with including it.
What page on, Charlie?
I'm on page 50.
The question is,
50.
um,
It's that whole thing we talked about, the 500-gallon or less tank for RVs. And I agree with Paul. I mean, we don't want seeing people dump stuff on the ground. I think this is a good thing as long as the sanitary district and the haulers are on board with it. So I always defer to them in things of this
Well,
nature, but
I think the language is okay, but maybe something that, it's all subject to, sanitary district
Yeah.
approval.
maybe something like that.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Like Like, yeah, I mean,
We-
they're the experts. I'm not on.
And they
sanitary.
can say yes one day and no the next day based on their, charts and.
And the plant operations sort of,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so maybe it's adding a sentence in there, requiring Madeline Sanitary District.
So at the page, top of page 50, number 6.
Yes.
It's at, Ashland County Sanitary in Wisconsin. We'll just add, Madeline Island Sanitary District.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, the requirements of Ashland County Sanitary Private Sewage Ordinance and applicable minimum standards. I would say the Madeline Sanitary District and applicable minimum standards. Why not include them, I guess, Jim?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, they're mentioned farther down below under F, but get it out there right away. If we're mentioning Ashland County Sanitary,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Why
So
not?
we're adding 3 words up the
Sure.
top, yeah. I'm totally cool with that.
That's important.
Just because I think at some point over the next 7 years, this makes a lot of sense.
Boy, I'm sure.
Yeah, my personal opinion, I think it's probably a good thing, but
I still can't wrap my head around building something 6 feet from the ordinary high water. I'd almost rather have 6 signs than 6 boathouses.
lucky number 6. I think that's the only thing I had.
Thing off this until we think about it and get different side, different
So we
terminology.
talked about it and we'll think about it and talk about it again.
Okay.
Now, we're gonna move on to
Chris,
the,
do you need any, need a motion from us to send that into the attorney?
Consensus?
How about consensus? I mean, I think that would be good.
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
Yes, with the condition that he knows that we're looking at a couple different things.
Yes, we're looking at, yes, we're
2
looking.
paragraphs.
And sanitary.
Well, sanitary, we're gonna have those 3 words and
And then we're done.
Sanitary boathouses signs.
Yeah, important.
Yep.
Now what?
now we're on to the 6th Street vacation update.
yeah, so very simple tonight. The 6th Street vacation, the public hearing is scheduled for 1 week from today, July 8th at 5 p.m. In this room. It was published in the Ashland Daily News 2 Thursdays ago, last Thursday, and will be tomorrow. It'll be posted in there. So it requires that there's 3 publications. And there's a draft agenda that's in the works that will be published no later than Monday. We welcome everyone. Any comments that they have, please attend, and we'll have a map here of it. All comments are welcome.
And for our viewing audience, it's a town board public hearing, not a TPC public hearing. Pardon?
You're off the hook.
He was never on the.
So next, new business zoning R4. With residential.
What is that?
Yeah, and this was part of the discussion last week that we had concerning in the zoning ordinance, there was discussion about.
Well, page 28.
Yep.
What's in question?
Yeah, the comment that we had received is that the paragraph, the second paragraph that's crossed out, that identified a specific parcel, as well as an expiration date. That was discussed, last week, and we wanted to just put it on the agenda to discuss tonight.
Well, I think Charlie's comment that, we don't want to restrict R4 to that parcel number that, I think it's fine that we delete that.
Yeah, we're not
Or
preventing them. I'm sorry.
or if you leave the parcel there and put the phrase in, you know, including but not limited to,
You stay away from that.
just.
No, but I mean, we could leave it in there, but then it's limited to that time frame and that parcel. I don't think
Yeah.
that makes any sense.
No.
I mean, obviously it could go there. We're not saying it can't. It's just a zoning district. The zoning district follows the map, and wherever the map says R4 is where the R4 is.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's necessary to have it.
28.
And you can always change the zoning map going forward. If all of a sudden the town acquires land somehow or is donated land and all of a sudden this revelation, hey, this is a perfect spot for affordable housing units or something like that, well, then you can change the map to say R4 is now over there. Right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, just like we got little parks that are everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, things change. The property doesn't always the same, so.
So again, is there a consensus of the committee that we
Keep,
delete that?
keep,
Yeah.
keep the strike in there.
Yeah, I don't see where it's detrimental to anything.
Yeah.
Unless I'm missing something, so yeah, consensus.
Well, I'm sure the attorney will look at it too.
Yeah, true. Yeah, consensus. Go with the flow.
Future agenda items?
Well, the zoning rewrite issues that we've talked about, we'll revisit.
Boathouse and signs.
Boathouse signs.
And any other, obviously, land
Right.
use
Yeah,
applications.
Yep.
and it's always a work in progress.
Is there any reason to start looking at some of the issues that we've tabled over the past couple of years? Come to mind, I'm sure there's some, help me here, Rich. We've tabled,
Well, a short-term rental, revisited.
right, the
The
rental ordinance.
yeah, tweaking that, but you know, we'll wait until after the zoning rewrite has been
Some of the other
adopted.
ones.
Subdivision. Tech, I thought was always on there.
Right.
Yeah.
Second memo 3.
Kind of
We
waiting
made
on
some
this.
changes Last August. that
Maybe,
were-
maybe by November, it might be a good, you know,
Mhm.
coming into winter, but this summer's pretty loaded up and
My
busy.
term's up in next spring, so maybe you just, you know.
We gotta get everything done by then.
We want you back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing for future agenda items is I will have a schedule of review from the attendee. That I could share back with the team on how long he thinks that's going to take.
Okay, extended public comment. Paul,
I'd like to wish this country a happy 250th birthday coming this weekend. Kind of surprised we made it this far. Well, seriously, I mean, you got, if you want to get the president's ear, you just got to play around and golf with them. Just like on the island, if you want to get a TPC member's ear, you play around or croquet with them.
You're not laughing, Jim.
thank you, Paul.
It's not a laughing matter.
Alex, anything?
Yes, I appreciate you all putting the R4 back on the new business. I would just ask that you consider not removing the town's only concrete commitment to affordable housing. As far as I've seen on the zoning map, there's no other R4 location. And I would just ask that that language not be removed. If at this point it goes to the town board, then it's the town board. I know, Charlie, if I heard you correctly, you mentioned not wanting to go into the language of saying, this parcel is designated with the possibility of additional parcels being designated. But I think, at this point, there's nothing as R4 is on the island right now. And I think that location was a location that was well thought out. And so I would ask that you not remove that language, but we'll go to the town board next.
What if we don't remove the language, but just put it on here?
Well, I thought we had our,
I don't see it on.
then we got to make sure that that's done.
Yeah.
This is public comment. I don't want to get too
Public comment.
deep into the weeds,
Sorry.
but, yeah. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you. Next scheduled meeting, August 5th
At 5.
at 5 PM. We're gonna switch it to 5, okay.
Right,
Yeah,
you mean
yeah,
that-
five, good.
Yeah.
Five's good.
You mean that works for you, 5 o'clock?
Yeah.
Sorry, I put 4:30. It's my fault.
She's not gonna do
I
it.
think that we're not.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.